and ask a few questions and see where we can go with it today, okay? All right, let's review just a tiny bit though. What's going on right at this point? Can somebody please kind of review and help refresh our memories?
So the dog left.
Put your hand down while she's talking, please.
The dog left and he was walking, I think it was west?
East.
East.
Mm-hmm, good for you.
East, and he walked, and then the guy kind of missed him, so he left like a door open or something.
So where did this dog come from, honey? Do you remember?
Oops. Nope.
Okay, can we get somebody to help you? Can you pick somebody to help you? Who? This Yahoo? Yeah. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was an alley when he was fighting with dogs.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was coming, just walking down the street and found the dogs fighting, right? Mm-hmm. And then what did he do with the dogs when he found them fighting? What did he do?
He watched.
He what?
He watched.
He watched, and then what did he do?
Oh, he went to go help the dog.
He what? Raise your hand for me. Say, what did Billy do? Billy fought the dogs off how? Using his jacket, right? Because he went in to rescue this dog that was being attacked by other dogs, right? I know you want to say things, but let's make sure we raise our hands, okay? So he found this dog, took it home. What did he do with the dog when he got it home? Yes, ma'am?
He gave it a bath, and he fed it, and then he ate like all the food,
Mm-hmm.
all the meat, and then so he had to go and buy some more, and he finished the rest of that too.
Why did this dog eat so much?
Because you could see his bones, and he was very hungry, and he was starving, and he checked his paw, and it was like injured or something like that.
Okay, why was he starving? Can somebody tell her, support what she just said? Why is that dog starving?
Because it came from a long way from where his home was.
Right, he can't figure out who it belongs to, and evidently it belongs to somebody because what? What was that sign that it belonged to somebody?
It had a collar.
It did, it had a collar. So he took care of the dog. What did this dog do? This will help us pick up where we're at right now. What did this dog, seeing this dog and feeding this dog and taking care of this dog and sending this dog off to go home to where it belonged, because he said he could keep it, but probably belonged to somebody. So, but what did this do? Yes, sir.
It gave him like a boost.
A boost? What kind of boost did it give him? I like that word. It gave him a boost.
He didn't feel so tired, and so that way he could go more farther.
Oh, so the dog could go further. Okay, so the Billy gave the dog, whose name was like Buddy, right? Am I right?
I think.
A little boost so he could keep going, right? But what did this dog do for Billy? I guess I didn't ask that great question, but you did a great job answering. Yes, sir.
It gave him a flashback.
Okay, so what's a flashback? What's a flashback? Great answer. What is that?
Like an old memory.
An old memory. So the author is setting us up by using a flashback, right? He says, I'm going to tell you this story. Well, actually, that's called foreshadowing, right? The author sets us up to see what's going to happen next, right? That's a literary device, right? Foreshadowing says, hey, this, and this is happening, and you're sitting here going, ooh, I want to know what happens next, right? And they also use a flashback, right? So he really is doing two things, right? He's going, okay, I'm going to set you up so you want to know what's happening next by using foreshadowing. And then he uses flashback. So he says, okay, I'm an adult now, but here's my memory. I'm going to tell you all about it, okay? So that's where we're at in the story. So we stopped at, you did a great job catching me up. Thank you very much. You have to be looking at your text in order to be successful and follow along, okay? So let's look at our text, make sure we're looking down, and if you get stuck on a word or want me to repeat a word, you just let me know, okay? And then we'll just have volunteers read. I'm not going to make you read, okay? But if you'd like to read, I would love to have you join me in the reading, okay? I'm going to go back a paragraph so I can know that, remember where we stopped and kind of go from there, okay? I believe we stopped with, as I turned to enter my yard, I started to lock the gate, and then I thought, no, I'll leave it open. He might come back. I was about halfway to the house when a cool breeze drifted down from the rugged Tetons. It had a bite in it, and goose pimples jumped on my skin. I stopped at the woodshed and picked up several sticks of wood. I didn't turn on any lights on entering the house. The dark, quiet atmosphere was a perfect setting for the mood I was in. I built a fire in the fireplace and pulled up my favorite rocker. As I sat there in the silence, the fire grew larger. It crackled and popped. Firelight shadows began to shimmer and dance around the room. The warm, comfortable heat felt good. I struck a match to light my pipe. As I did, 2 beautiful cups gleamed from the mantel. I held the match up so I could get a better look. There they were, sitting side by side. One was large with long, upright handles that stood out like wings on a morning dove. The highly polished surface gleamed and glistened with a golden sheen. The other was smaller and made of silver. It was neat and trim and sparkled like a white star in the heavens. I got up and took them down. There was a story in those cups, a story that went back more than half a century. As I caressed the smooth surfaces, my mind drifted back through the years, back to my boyhood days. How wonderful the memories were. Piece by piece, the story unfolded. So there's our flashback, isn't it? He's taking us back. He's getting all settled in his chair. He has a fire lit. The dog caused him to have these memories, and now he's going to tell his story. A rocker? That's a rocking chair. Are there any other things that... Yeah, right? So are there any other things you want me to explain before we go on? You know what a mantle is? No. It's that little shelf right above a fireplace. So he's got his fireplace going, and then there's a little shelf right above it, and he's got 2 trophies up there. And he took them down, and he's like, there's a story in these trophies, and I'm going to tell you that story. Okay? Somebody want to help me read today? Anybody want to give it a shot? Thank you, buddy. Okay, so we're on chapter 2, honey. The first sentence. There you go. Thank you for helping me.
There's a time in particular.
Practically.
Every young boy's life when he's affected by the wonderful disease of puppy love. I don't know the kind a boy has for real kind. A kind has 4 small feet and a wiggly tail and sharp little teeth that can draw on a boy. The kind a boy can romp and play with and eat and sleep with. I am 10 years old when I first became infected with this terrible disease. I'm sure no boy in the world had it worse than I did. It's not easy for a young boy to want a doggy and not be able to have one. It starts gnawing on his heart and gets all mixed up in the dream. It gets worse and worse until finally it becomes also unbearable.
Very good. Let's stop there for a second. He says he has a disease. Is he really sick?
No.
Physically sick, vomiting, throwing up, right? What does he have? He says, I have this disease. What does he mean by that? Yes, ma'am.
Like, he has like something like this thing, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like, he has something that's he has something that's like he really likes and he wants to have it all the time, so he like says it's a disease because he really likes it and he always wants to have it. And like since he's describing a puppy, I mean most people love puppies because it's so cute and adorable that you just want to like keep it forever.
Right.
You don't want it to like pass away or anything. You just want to keep it forever.
So he has a disease of wanting a puppy so bad, right? That's the only thing he can want. The only thing he can think of. Gnawing means it's eating at you. Hold on. Sit up. Sit up. Come on. Sit up for me. It's good. So you can make a connection to the story, right? So do you love your puppy?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You love the puppy that you have, right? He loves the puppy he doesn't have yet. He really wants one. Gnawing means it's eating at him. He's like, I want this so badly, right? Okay. So it's a disease, right? Please let's not interrupt each other, okay? I would love to hear from you, but let's wait and raise hands, okay? So that's what it means by he has a disease. Who'd like to read next? Go ahead, honey.
My dog wanted, my dog wanted I had him that of an ordinary boy. I am sure my mother and father would have gotten him a puppy, but my wants were
That's okay. You're doing great.
but my wants were different. I didn't want you just one dog. I wanted two, and not just any kind of dog. They had to be special, a special kind and a special breed. I had to have some dogs. I went to my father and I had a talk with him. I talked to him.
Okay. You want to finish that sentence up for me? Scratched?
Scratched his head and thought it over.
Thank you for reading. That's awesome. Well, Billy, he said, I heard that old man Hatfield's collie is going to have pups. I'm sure I can get one of them for you. He may as well have poured cold water on me. Papa, I said, I don't want an old collie dog. I want hounds, coon hounds, and I want two of them. I could tell by the look on his face that he wanted to help me, but couldn't. He said, Billy, those kind of dogs cost money, and that's something we don't have right now. Maybe someday, when we can afford it, you can have them, but not right now. I didn't give up. After my talk with Papa, I went to Mama. I fared no better there. Right off, she said, I was too young to be hunting with hounds. Besides, a hunter needed a gun, and that was one thing I couldn't have until I was 21 anyway. I couldn't understand it. There I was, sitting right in the middle of the finest hunting country in the world, and I didn't even have a dog. Our home was in a beautiful valley far back in the rugged Ozarks. The country was new and sparsely settled. The land we lived on was Cherokee land, allotted to my mother because of the Cherokee blood that flowed in her veins. It lay in a strip from the foothills of the mountains to the banks of the Illinois River in northeastern Oklahoma. The land was rich, black, and fertile. Papa said it would grow hair on a cross-cut saw. He was the first man to stick the cold steel point of a turning plow into the virgin soil. Mama had picked the spot for our log house. It nestled at the edge of the foothills in the mouth of a small canyon and was surrounded by a grove of huge red oaks. Behind our house, one could see miles and miles of the mighty Ozarks. In the spring there, the aromatic scent of wild flowers, redbuds, pawpaws, and dogwoods drifting on the wind current spread over the valley and around our home. Below our fields, twisting and winding, ran the clear blue waters of the Illinois River. The banks were cool and shady. The rich bottom land near the river was studded with tall sycamores, birches, and box elders. The author does a really good job here of describing and creating a visual for you as to where he lives, right? So he lives out in this open with all these places to run and hunt. And he says, I don't even have a dog. You guys somebody want to volunteer to read? Yanira? Let's sit up and follow along, please. We'll wait for everyone to be focused. Okay, we're on page 9 on paragraph 2. To a 10-year-old?
To a 10-year-old, country boy, it was the most beautiful place in the world. Advantage of it all. I roamed the hills in the river, waters, I knew everything. Well, it was the same spring, and every animal track that was curious in the north along the river bank. The one that fascinated me the most was the baby white track in the river cove. Tightly I for hours examining that before leaving I focused and took them all away. These I called in my trail notes. The next day I hurried back and sure enough I out of the same thing in the same ground I was again by tracks of the wind. I knew I passed over the children that I could close my eyes and almost see him humped up and
Waddling.
waddling around shaking under a big tree with his delicate little paws of crawfish and
Very well done. Thank you for reading today. Remember we talked about raccoons finding their food along the water line? Why do they like to get their food wet? What did we say about that? Paul, do you remember that? Why do they like to dip their food in water?
Because when they eat something, they like getting their hands wet.
And why does getting their hands wet help them, honey? Do you remember?
I think it's because they could feel it.
They can feel their food better. Remember that? Great. Both of you. Good job. Raccoons can feel their food more when they dip their food in the water. So he's along the water line catching food, right? Great. Anybody want to read next, or do you want me to read some more? Okay, I'll read a little bit. I was a hunter from the time I could walk. I caught lizards on the rail fences, rats in the corn crib. Okay, I'll wait for everybody to follow along. We're on page 9. Thank you. I was a hunter from the time I could walk. I caught lizards on the rail fences, rats in the corn crib, and frogs in the little creek that ran through the fields. I was a young Daniel Boone. Remember, we talked about that one yesterday, didn't we? He thought he was all that. Daniel Boone, a great frontiersman, right? Just like him. As the days passed, the dog-wanting disease grew worse. I began to see dogs in my sleep. I went back to my father and mother. It was the same old story. Good hounds cost money, and they just didn't have it. My dog wanting became so bad I began to lose weight, and my food didn't taste good anymore. Mama noticed this, and she had a talk with Papa. You're going to have to do something, she said. I never saw a boy grieve like that. It's not right. Not right at all. I know, said Papa, and I feel just as badly as you do. But what can I do? You know, we don't have that kind of money. What's going on in history at this point? Remember what we talked about? What's happening? The Depression, right? Nobody had any money, right? He's just doing what he can to survive. To buy coonhounds was a luxury that he just couldn't do for Billy. Maybe under different circumstances, right? But he just doesn't have that kind of money. Can you please put your head down? Thank you. Can somebody pick up the reading for me? Did you have a question or did you want to read?
question.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the
You sure can. You know where those Kleenex are. Okay, somebody else want to read? Give it a shot. You want to take a risk? Come on. Okay, nice.
I'm here, said Mama. You've got to do something. I can't stand to see him cry like that. Besides, he's getting to be a problem. I can't get my work done. He follows me around all day begging for pounds. I offered to get him a dog, said Papa, but he doesn't want just any kind of dog. He wants
Hounds?
hounds, and they cost money. Do you know what the Parker boys paid for those 2 hounds they bought? $75. If I had that much money, I'd buy another mule. I sure need one.
Thank you. That's awesome. You want to keep reading? Okay.
I had overheard this conversation from the other room. At first, it made me feel pretty good. At least I was getting to be a problem. Then I didn't feel so good. I knew my mother and father were poor and didn't have any money. I began to feel sorry for them and myself.
Very good. Somebody else want to try? Go ahead, baby.
For thinking it over, I figured out a way to help even though it was a great sacrifice. I told Papa I had decided I didn't want to have one would be enough. I saw the hurt in his eyes. It made me feel like someone was squeezing water out of my heart. Papa sat me on his lap and we had a good talk. He told me how hard times were and that it looks like your man could get a fair price for anything he raised. All the farmers had quiet farming and were cutting railroads ties so they could
Feed.
feed their families. If things didn't get better, that's what he had to do. He'd give anything if he could get £10 for me, but it didn't seem to be any way he could write them.
Thank you, honey. So he's telling him, he said, you know, times are tough. We can't afford a dog right now. Some farmers have quit farming because the depression was so bad and the land was so bad. Remember, we talked about the Dust Bowl. It was hard to farm in some places, right? So they were offering other things to get other jobs. He said, we just can't afford it right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark that spot. We're on page 10. So when you get back to your desk, I want you to write in your library pocket, page 10, okay? Did you have something you wanted to add? Okay. And so we're going to go back to our desk quietly, write page 10 in our library pockets, and the other class members will be coming back in a minute. Let's transition really quietly. First of all, you did a beautiful job. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Ready? Let's try that again. Let's look this way because I didn't have your attention. Let's do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. You can hear a compliment better when we're all listening, and that was my fault. You did a great job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Great. Thank you. Page 10.
No.
Just leave your